Hey, Brandon here. Welcome to the channel and thanks for tuning in. We're continuing our 2024 draft stock report series. This is the week 2 edition. My podcast co-host and I, Jason D. Rienzo of the Devy to Dynasty Football Podcast. Each and every week here on this channel, we are going to be doing a stock report, really taking a look at the players next year that could potentially be on our 2024 fantasy football teams. These are players that you're going to be drafting in 2024. So if you're looking for a channel out there that's going to give you an early look at these fantasy football assets, we're going to be doing film reviews. We're going to be doing rookie reports. We're going to be doing mock drafts. Hit that subscribe button. We'd really appreciate the support. So let's get right to it, man. This is a insert from our podcast that we did, and we're going to give you 6 names here to keep your eye on for your rookie drafts next year. All right, Jason, are you ready to talk about our NFL stock risers?
I am. Let's do it.
You go first this week.
All right. Yeah, my first riser, and I did not think this is another name I did not think I'd be talking about, but Tyler Van Dyke really showed out in this last game against Texas A&M. You know, last season it was just so hard to get judgmental because the whole team just didn't seem like they had an identity. And a lot of times when we look at a team that's failing, it's easy to blame, who's driving that offense, and it's the quarterback. Well, Tyler Van Dyke was injured. Just didn't know the severity of it. But when you watch him play now, he looks like the original Tyler Van Dyke that we all got excited about. Very accurate, had really nice pass to Jacoby George, Recepto, I can't remember how to say his name, just had really good anticipatory throws to him, going on drags and hitches, getting the ball out quickly, good decision making, was able to navigate the pocket. I think that Tyler Van Dyke is definitely back on the map, and he's on the rise, and it's going to be a lot of fun seeing a guy like Tyler Van Dyke try to come back with a nice story.
Yeah, and I like we talked about earlier on the podcast, I love the whole Miami story, them being relevant in the ACC again. So I'd love to see them really make some noise and give Florida State a run for their money. My NFL stock riser, I mean, how can we not, how after week 2, Jason, can we have a stock rise NFL show for the 2024 draft class and not talk about SHEDEUR Sanders of Colorado,
I
right?
think we can.
6'2", 215 pounds. Mel Kiper tweeted out, like I mentioned earlier, that he is number 3 of the 2024 draft class. And I love how Mel Kiper had to get that out there, because I know he wanted to be first with that spicy call. But you got to be impressed with what this kid has done. I mean, through 2 games, 903 yards, 77.5 completion percentage, 6 TDs, and 0 picks. So he's safe with the ball. He's got the impressive arm talent. He had a really nice throw this weekend, and I'm not sure who the receiver was, where he threw that dart in the end zone, and it was two defensive backs were kind of coming and converging on the wide receiver, and he put it in that tight window. So he's got the velocity to get that ball, where it needs to be, I think, in the tight windows and also down the field as well. He makes good decision making, can throw on the run, kind of all the stuff that you had previously mentioned, and shows some poise in the pocket, which I think, mentally we talk about in our quarterbacks all the time is so important, the mental aspect of the game. And he seems to stay under control. The competition's going to get a little stronger here as we go into the season, but, stock up for him. The one blemish, I think, on his profile for the NFL, at least from a dynasty standpoint, I'm sure, and maybe even from an NFL standpoint, is his lack of rushing. I mean, he has 16 carries for minus 62 yards through 2 games. And we know that takes into consideration sacks and stuff like that. But it doesn't really add any mobility running down the field much, if at all. So it's going to be more of a pocket passer than a playmaker with the ball in his hands. But other than that, stock up. I mean, he's a Heisman candidate right now after, week 2 of college football. So I don't think he's, going to be going anywhere but up unless he, has some rough games.
College football is always better when there's a hero like this that's just rising up and you can root for.
Yeah.
My next guy is, as far as an NFL stock rise, there's going to be Sam Hartman, Notre Dame quarterback. And, Sam Hartman's story alone, I could get into. It's actually really amazing if you get to know the kid and understand Sam Hartman's background. I urge you to kind of do that research if you really want to, because it is an amazing story. But just Sam Hartman this year, the way he has commanded the offense, going through his progressions, making anticipatory reads. I mean, he's got already 731 yards, 10 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a NFL passer rating of 148. I mean, the kid's doing everything he can to get his name on the map, get Notre Dame on the map, and he actually elevates the players around him and makes them better. Because they're as much as I thought Notre Dame would have a number one receiver, they don't, because he's spreading the ball around. And that's what makes a good quarterback, when they
Mhm.
understand that they can utilize every asset that they have available. So Sam Hartman, to me, not sure what to make of him yet. Want to see more game film, but he is definitely on the rise.
Yeah, I like that. He's just what Notre Dame needed to me to really make a run. It was a good decision to bring him in there. I think Notre Dame has got a good shot of making the playoffs this year. So my second NFL stock riser for the 2024 draft class is Adonai Mitchell from Texas. Big game today. Big game this past weekend. Broke out. 6'4", 196 pounds. This is the kind of game that we've been waiting for Mitchell to have in 2 years in Georgia. He was nicked up last year in Georgia, transfers to Texas. He's a true junior. Had a great game, 3 receptions, 78 yards, and 2 TDs. So I made a film again on the YouTube channel here, so check that out as well. But it was a breakout game for him. You know, we got a lot of big body receivers in this 2024 draft class. You know, we have a lot of guys in the 6'2", 6'3" height, and Mitchell's going to be part of that class as we continue to march towards April. If he continues to put games like this together, he's going to see his draft stock rise. I mean, he's one of those big body receivers. He's physical. He's going to win those 50-50 balls for you. He showed some defensive manipulation when it came to his route running. He got a lot of clean releases in this particular game. The one thing on his profile that I'm going to be watching closely as we get into the draft season is his ability to separate vertically. So he did on one play for that long touchdown on the film, and people got excited about it, but he was playing against a second string DB who was kind of confused back there, and he kind of, made a nice play and then just ran really all by himself down the middle of the field. But on a lot of those other plays that we saw, the DB was in his hip when he was going up and making the catch. So that's one thing I'm going to be watching. What is his speed? What is his elusiveness to be able to shake off defenders, when he goes vertical and down the middle of the field on post patterns or corner routes and stuff like that. But otherwise, great game. He's going to start getting a lot of buzz right now if he continues to string of games like this together.
Great call here. I mean, if he's going to do something to elevate his stock, do it against Alabama in a big time game in the spotlight. So he picked the right time to do it. My next NFL draft riser is going to be a guy that we haven't really talked about much, but man, he just continues to impress me. And it's hard because he's impressing me in the spot of a guy that I love in Juice Wells, but that's Xavier Legette. I keep watching him, and I just see an NFL prospect. I see the play strength. I see the contortion to get the ball midair, the hands, being available on time at the catch point, just understanding how to manipulate, uses functional strength to separate along with manipulation and agility. I just think that Xavier Legette is showing a lot. And there's a video out there on Twitter about him being on special teams. He's 6'3", 227 pounds, and he was the first one down the field full stride, on a return, as far as being a good tackle. So I just think that Xavier Legette, the analytic community, is going to hate this kid. But if you watch the game film, you can understand that there's definitely something there with him. And it's we're early in the season. Who knows what's going to happen when Juice Wells comes back? But I'm excited for what I've seen so far.
Don't worry about that analytic community. The NFL doesn't care about analytics. They just want to find kids that can play. So, but I love that call. Right? Hey, I love doing shows like this where we introduce new player names to the people who listen and watch. It's fantastic. My third, NFL riser in the 2024 class is senior wide receiver Roman Wilson from Michigan, 6 foot, 192 pounds. But I'll tell you, this kid, first 3 years at Michigan, he was pretty good. 9 receptions year 1, 25 year 2, 25 year 3. He's already had 10 this year through 2 games. He finally has a quarterback in J.J. McCarthy who's anticipating where he's going to be and delivering the ball in a timely fashion. I love this kid's game. Again, 6 foot 192. He's going to be one of the more, I think, twitchy, smaller receivers in this draft class. Now, listen, this guy's not even in the top 10 of wide receivers next year, anything that I can see, and he may not get there. but he is putting on a show and is putting his name on the map through 2 weeks. I love his acceleration off the line. I find him to be an explosive player, good technique as a route runner. I like the way he attacks defensive angles and manipulates defenders out there. So, the physicality is probably the one thing that I'm a little concerned about. And you know me, Jason, I love physicality when it comes to receivers, but sometimes if you're twitchy enough to get open and you play primarily, he played, I think 60 like slot, 40 out wide through his course of his career.
Okay.
I think there's a chance that the kid can maybe rise. So right now, as we're
Yeah.
looking, early in the draft cycle, we've seen guys, Puka Nakua this time last year, nobody was talking about, and he is a dynasty
Unbelievable.
darling right now, going into
Unbelievable.
week 2 waiver wires all over the fantasy football community. So there's no name that's too kind of low right now to talk about. We're introducing names to you here to get your eyeballs on and to maybe put, to start scouting them for yourself. But Roman Wilson for the last 2 weeks, he's been killing it. Love it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
So there you guys go. There are 6 names for you as we head into 2024 draft class. We'll be doing a ton more NFL draft content, obviously, as we approach April.